everybody. Welcome to the inaugural. This is your father's Trekcast. How's everybody today? JP, are you there?
I am here. I'm looking ready to talk some Trek.
I like that. I like that. All right. So let me check audio here to see. This is kind of soundboard color. That's probably going out main, right? And I'm getting the monitor as well. Monitor and output. I want desktop audio to be monitor only then. Desktop audio is monitor off, so hold on. I want to make sure you're not repeating yourself. That you're not coming out through two different inputs here. So yeah, this is going to be our first inaugural episode, so it's a pilot. So things could go obviously a little sideways. We'll see how it goes.
Let's just hope we don't go the whole way perpendicular.
Right, hold on a sec. Oh, I'm repeating. It's a pilot. Things could go obviously a little sideways. See how it goes.
Let's just hope we don't go the whole way perpendicular.
All right, you're fine. Okay, this is weird. You're fine. I am repeating. All right, so let's do this. Properties of the microphone. Black Yeti mic. What's the mic aux input? That might be what our problem is. Yeah, it's set by default. All right, that's why. So let's make that not go out to the mains. Yeah. You know what, I'm just going to say the device is something that doesn't get any input. There it goes. Streaming microphone. Yay. Now the audio should be better. And again, it'll be fine on the audio recording, like, because I'm recording just this, but I don't want people to watch this and go stupid, insane, and be like, what's wrong with you, man? So. Hold on. Sorry about the repeating, guys. I'll mute. There it goes. Streaming microphone. Yay. Now the audio should be better. That's better. All right. Again, it'll be fine on the... All right, so we're good. All right, rock and roll. JP, talk, just to make sure I didn't lose you.
What are we doing again?
There we go. All right.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Bab 5, right?
Yeah, Bab 5. Babylon 5. Hey, Kyle's in the chat. What's up, Kyle? I love Kyle. Kyle's my former Legends TV Talk guy. All right, so let's... All right. It's so weird that I see you... But I think I have your soundboard. I think I have you going through. Yeah, you're not echoing, so that's good.
I mean, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, it means I set it up properly the first time.
How dare you?
Right. Put desktop audio to monitor only. I just don't like that idea of. There we go. Talk.
Well, I would like to say something important, but I don't know that I necessarily will.
Yeah, okay. It wasn't echoing, but it was echoing. It would. Okay, well, that's fine. All right, so this is going to be a new audio podcast we're starting. So we're going to be going through new Trek, old Trek. This, the name of the podcast is "This Is Your Father's Trekcast." Is really about the fact that sometimes. When they're describing new Trek, they like to say words, hey, this isn't your father's Star Trek. And you know what? There ain't nothing wrong with your father's Star Trek. So we'll go into what we are there in the beginning here. But I'm very excited. I'm glad to have some people watching. Please feel free to jump into the chat. Let us know what you think. You will show up on the stream, obviously, as you can see there. On the right-hand side. And we'll go through our bona fides here. Everybody will find out who JP is as well. I'm assuming a lot of people are following me probably from either Legends or from Planestalkers / Old Man Gamer / whatever the hell I was. DR Casual for like 6 minutes. All right. All right. So we're going to start off with it's going to be a different kind of format than we used to have. I'm going to do a short stinger in the beginning to kind of get people into what's coming. And then we're going to go into a small theme song that I put together. Yay. And then we'll go right into the episode. So hopefully you guys dig it. Feel free to give us any feedback. I'll give my email address out later, but it's will@oldmangamerny.com. So feel free to email me privately. If you've got negative stuff, let's not put that in the chat today. So let's keep it positive and uplifting. All right. With that, I'm going to start recording the audio. And then we'll do it count. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be weird. Okay. Well, it's okay. So here's what we're going to do, JP. I'm going to do the usual countdown. 5, 3, 2, 1. We'll both say click so that I can sync that up. Say click after you hit the record button. All right? So I can sync those two together and then edit about. Then after. It's kind of like what they do with, So.
Rolling, yep.
Yeah. All right. Yep. So, all right. If you got your mouse over the red button.
I do.
All right. I also have mine. All right. 3.
Oh, hang on 1 second.
Oh.
Hang on. Premature button mashing.
I hate it when that happens.
Just a second. Close. No.
Actually, you know what? Before I do that,
okay, now we're ready again.
Let me send my buddy Casey a text here. Hey, yeah, because he did a cast with his mom, where no moms have gone before, where they rewatched all the movies. And
so, are you untapping anything today?
No, not today. Just Coke Zero tonight. I had stuff, but I'm like, okay. Yeah, we're about to get a snowstorm, and the last thing I want is to spend all my money or spend all my beer before snow arrives.
Fair enough. We on what's today? Today's Sunday. On Wednesday, we got from Tuesday until.
Well, let's save this because this is good. Yeah,
18 inches.
Oh wow. Dang, okay then.
Oh, wait, not 18, 12, sorry. They were forecasting 18.
Wow. Old Man Gamer NY. Cool. All right. Okay, dude, if you've got red button?
Red button.
All right. Let's get this going then. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Click.
This week on This Is Your Father's Trekcast, Episode 1, we are going to talk to you about why we're doing this show, what this show is, how it's going to happen, what it's all about. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. We will be right back. Podcasting. That ancient ritual of middle-aged men seeking validation in the internet age. What you're listening to now is a new Trekcast by 2 longtime fans who have tons to say about Star Trek and the world around it. We will inform, we will entertain, because we are your father's Trekcast. Starring Will as the Old Man Gamer and JP as, well, JP. Talking about new episodes of Star Trek, old episodes of Star Trek comic books, Star Trek video games, and anything else they feel like, because hey, it's their cast. So sit back, relax, have a beverage of choice. Unless you're driving, for God's sake, pay attention to the road. Here are Will and JP talking Trek.
Mr. Worf, open hailing frequency.
All right, welcome to episode 1 of This Is Your Father's Trekcast. I don't know if it's going to be the fully This Is. It's on all of the media. I think we're just going to stick with Your Father's Trekcast. But I want to say hello first to my co-host, my better co-host, the greatest person to do this with. JP, sir, how are you tonight?
I am wonderful. I am better than I deserve, and I am ready to talk all things Trek.
It has me as well. I am, of course, your host, Will Benson, otherwise known as Old Man Gamer. And frankly, this has grown out of a couple of previous shows. So I used to do another podcast with another individual, and we found that at the end of the show, while we were sitting there and getting our recordings all put together, we would sit and talk Star Trek. And because we were both fans, but we were a different level of fans. Like, I was definitely more next gen DS9, but also very well versed in the original series. He was much more of the next gen and kind of, stuff going forward. And it was great for stuff. And JP was always hanging out with us. So when I decided that I wanted to get back into doing some sort of audio podcasting, I mean, I have to tell you, I was like, Star Trek, it's flooded. The market is flooded. But I really kind of thought, as I looked around in other casts, and other than where no mom has gone before, shout out to my buddy Casey, and Casey and his brother Colin, they watched all of 13 movies, as well as Galaxy Quest, with their mom. And I was like, that's fantastic. That's an idea. But then I started listening to other Trek casts, and here's the thing. You've got other people out there that are our age talking Trek, but they're kind of angry. And we're going to steer into this. We are old Trek guys, but we appreciate the newer Trek to an extent. I'm going to shit on Discovery, people. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to take a big giant poop on Discovery a lot. But, for the most part, we're fans of the show. So I decided to ask JP to join me. JP, why don't you tell the people out there, your Trek bona fides, et cetera, et cetera.
I started watching Trek, neither of us are quite old enough to have been there for the original series in its original showings, but I was catching it on, syndicated runs back in the late 80s on...
When we only had 4 channels and it was on the afternoon.
I still remember to this day going in and... Yes. Well, no, not even in the afternoon. It was Saturday morning. That was it. And but anyway, I can remember in like I think this must have been like the early 90s, like 90, 91, real early, going into like Suncoast Motion Pictures, whatever the name of the store was, and buying the VHS tapes of Trek that had 2 episodes on a tape, and it was like $20, which back in that day was kind of a lot of money. Still is a little.
No offense, in this day and age, it's still a lot of money.
Yeah. But I've watched every episode of TNG as it came out, every episode of DS9. I even like Enterprise. Shh, don't tell anyone.
Can't blame you there.
But yeah. It's been a long road getting from there to here.
Oh, no. And, we can't do that either.
No.
I should have said that also.
Oh.
There's no. Ah, God, why did you do that? Yeah, it's been a long road if you don't know what that's from, folks, well, I'm sure you're going to find out. I'm sure there's going to come a point where you're going to make me watch more of Enterprise than I have, because I'm not going to BS you guys. I think I watched a little of the first season. And I popped in occasionally, and every time I popped in, I had the Jaws 4 effect where I just start slapping. Why am I watching this? This is not good. I quit and walked away. So, yeah, I'm sure somebody's going to tell me that I'm going to need to watch Enterprise. So, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I love Voyager, and people love to take a diet crap on Voyager. So, and I mean, I loved Voyager. So... I mean, yeah, that's just it. I've been a Trek fan.
I mean, I like it all.
Do you like Discovery?
The only show I really haven't watched. I like Discovery. The only show the Trek show that I really haven't watched is Lower Decks. It's not really my brand of humor, but I'm sure I'm going to end up having to watch it for your account and for this show's account.
Hey, respond. Hold on, we're going to pause here. Respond after I finish this sentence. Say something, John.
What sentence?
Is that when it ended?
No, I didn't hear you ever say anything.
No, that was it. Respond after you hear me stop talking. Right here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, good.
So,
you
yeah,
did. All right, hold on. Let's start this again.
I eventually
because I think we're
said.
drifting. This is what I'm saying is that I will
we
say
are
something.
too.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish this sentence that I'm saying right now, and tell me when you hear me finish the sentence right now. Now. Oh yeah, we got about 3-second drift. All right, that's going to be a problem. It's one we're going to have to fix later.
I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi.
It might be your computer. Just
I'm not sure
Zencaster. Zencaster's a little bit. You know what? We'll use Zoom next time. I'll get through it. I just will know that I'll need to wait until you're fully finished with a sentence before I add anything. And yeah, it's going to make for
close out anything.
Close anything. Yeah, close any browsers you got open, including Discord. Yeah. Discord will kill you. Yeah, if you've got Discord open. Yeah. So, and we'll go back in and we'll edit this stuff out.
Well,
but I mean,
that. Let's try that test again.
All right. I am going to end a sentence that I am saying right now.
Now.
Yeah, you've got 3 seconds. All right. That's okay. Again, we can. So just keep that in mind. We're on about a 3-second delay. And okay. we'll try to fix it a bit in post. Again, this is all a pilot, so we may end up re-recording at some point. I don't think I want to try to switch this to Zoom right now because I'd have to redo all of the shots. But I still do have my Zoom account, and Zoom will at least let us do things. And like I said, we'll be just using the audio recording. But yeah, do you have anything else open on your side that you can cut?
Let's see.
I'm going to cut my end as well. Cut like Discord. And you know what? Stop recording. Just go ahead and stop recording on your side. We'll do I'll take audio from other sources this week. Let's try that.
Okay. Close out Audacity.
Yeah, close it completely. Give yourself as much resource as you can. We're using Zencastr here, folks, and yeah, this is not a endorsement of Zencast.
All right. Let me see. Did I put this stuff over into the show notes?
You can keep show notes open. You need the show notes. You need show notes, but just get rid of any other ancillary windows.
Closing word.
Yeah.
Okay, closing word. Need to have the show notes and my other discussion.
Yeah, anything you got note-wise is great, but yeah, we're just going to try to limit as much as we can on your laptop. I should have thought about this. This is why I didn't use Zencastr, because it was like, you have to have monstrously really great computers. So, yeah, we'll go back to Zoom, I think. So I'll keep Zoom around.
All right. That's all I can do at this point.
So what we'll do is I will end this sentence now.
Now.
Okay. Try this. Try refreshing your page now. See if it brings it back up.
Refresh Zencastr page?
Yep. Go ahead and we'll see what happens. This could be fun.
Refresh.
Look, it's two of me. All right, there he is.
Here I is.
And that sounds like we're back in sync, too.
Sync 2?
Oh, yeah, there. That's much better. Oh, not cast. Damn it. No. Picture in picture. Thank you. All right. Okay. Yeah, if your dad can shut the pooch up, that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I would love to tell him to do that.
All right, well, we'll do what we can. All right, so let's take this from. Yeah, I'll do my part and that I was doing about Trek, and we'll just go into the vision for the show. And you know what? Let's just take the whole hailing frequencies again. So I'll dump all of this. All right, so I'm gonna play the hailing frequencies open. I'm gonna stop recording on my side too because I don't need to. And I'm gonna put the hailing frequencies open, and we're just gonna take it from jump again. All right, so here we go.
Mr. Worf, open hailing frequency.
All right, let's do that again where you're not grabbing the mic and making it sound like you farted on screen.
Sorry.
It's okay. Are you good? Are you set?
Well, yeah, I was trying to cover the mic.
It's
shut
better.
the
It's
dog
better
up,
if you
but
can mute. If you have a mute on your headset, but if you don't worry about it. We'll make it
I
work.
don't.
We'll make
Actually,
the
hang
dog
on
in the
one second.
background is the
Don't we-
dog. It's fine. We'll make it fine. We'll be fine.
Wait,
All right.
where? Don't we have a mute on this Zencast? There.
I have no idea where you'd have. Oh yeah, over to the left. There's a mute, unmute on.
All right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Now I can't. Yeah, there you go. All right.
There now.
All right,
Okay.
good. All right, so I'm going to start the hailing frequencies again, and we'll try this again. So take 3. 3, 2.
Mr. Worf, open hailing frequency.
All right, so welcome to episode 1 of This Is Your Father's Trekcast. This is hailing frequencies. This is where we're going to kind of talk about ourselves. We're going to, tell you what's going on in our lives and haps. But since you don't know who we are from Adam, we thought this week we're going to kind of talk about our love of Trek, why we're doing the show, and then we'll cut over to the vision for the show, etc. And I'll talk about how the show is broken up. But JP, let's talk about this first. I mean, you've been you were a fan of the old show we used to do, Planestalkers, that was dealing with Magic the Gathering, and you were hanging out with us a lot after show when my former co-host and I would talk about Star Trek. So when I thought about doing a show again, you were the guy reached out to. Tell me about your love of Trek. Tell the people out there why they should listen to two old cats talking about Star Trek.
Well, I mean, neither of us were quite old enough to have watched TOS when it originally aired, but I started watching it on Saturday morning on the independent broadcast station on TV when there were only, 4 channels and you had to manually adjust your rabbit ears. But I can remember going into Suncoast Sounds, whatever the name of that store was, in 90, 91, 92, just after getting my first job, and buying the VHS tapes, which had 2 episodes on them and was $20 for 2 episodes, which is a lot of money now and was even more money back then. I think Trek still has the concept that their home releases are worth more than they actually are. But
Yeah.
that's kind of a hot take.
Well, we could talk about that. As for me, I mean, here's the thing. I've watched from the beginning. I watched from the late 70s, early 80s, when basically there were 4 channels on television, and one of them would play Star Trek every afternoon at 4 until they started playing G.I. Joe, and I was okay with that. But, I mean, they would play Star Trek, the old series, in the original series, a lot. I then saw the movies in the theater. I did see motion picture in the theater. My dad didn't enjoy it as much as I did. I think I did fall asleep because, wow, what a boring movie. But I did see Wrath of Khan, Star Trek, Search for Spock in theaters, Voyage Home, etc. I was around for that. Then TNG hit in 87. I didn't like it in the first season very much. In fact, I bowed out during the most troubling part of the first season, which was the blatantly racist episode. I was like, this doesn't seem right. I pretty much howled out of there for a little bit, but then I came back when they killed Tasha, and I was a fan ever since, especially, when TNG hit its stride in season 3. Forget about it. Everybody was talking about it. And I've been a fan ever since. Now I'm also
Absolutely.
I'm also a Star Wars fan. So I'm the unicorn, but Trek for me has a very, very deep love. I have a very deep, abiding love for it. I'm not one of these guys who, and if you're out there watching, we love you. Please don't be offended. But I'm not one of these cats who can tell you how many women Kurt kissed or, has to talk like with their tongue stuck to the top of their mouth. None of that. I'm a geek, not a nerd. But I mean, I love this show. So, the fact that we're going to make a podcast where we kind of talk about it, and let's kind of pivot to the vision of the show. I mean, the fact is this. First of all, again, I am 100% inspired by my buddy Casey, who did a podcast called Where No Mom Has Gone Before. If you got to find it, he's part of Night Shift Radio. It's a great show. It's basically him, his brother, and his mom rewatching all 13 Trek movies and Galaxy Quest. And basically, so I was hearing all of that, and I was like, man, I'd love to do a Star Trek show. And then I started looking for Star Trek podcasts, and you know what, guys? We're going to take a while to build an audience because holy crap, there's a ton out here. But I see that while there are people our age talking about the show, I want to steer into the fact that this is designed for old Trek fans, but talking about newer Trek shows as well as, and through the lens of being a lifelong fan. So of course, I'm going to crap on Discovery sometimes. I'm just gonna. There's nothing I can do. I mean, I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. I'll crap on seasons 1 and 2 of Picard probably, but I still watch them. I still watch Lower Decks. I love Lower Decks. We're gonna look at current Trek through the lens of old Trek fans. Try to do this weekly as long as we can come up with topics and stuff, which there's a ton out there. And kind of just do this as we can. So. I mean, JP, what do you think? Why are you doing the show? How do you see the show going?
Well, honestly, I just enjoy talking Trek. I'm not like you. I'm not the super duper examine every minutia, but I like the concept. I like the writing. I like the what's the word I'm looking for here? The ethos
culture
that they try to present. Yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, the problems that I have with New Trek, and you'll find this out as we go forward, is that I feel that sometimes New Trek kind of betrays old Trek. And it's hard to do a Trek show that's not going to, if you can't acknowledge that, then you're not being fair. You're kind of just being Pollyanna-ish, but it's okay too. We're going to talk about things in a very good way. So, with that, I've kind of built the show around things you see in an episode. So we're going to have a couple of main topics every week. So obviously Hailing Frequencies Open is, we're going to talk about ourselves a little bit, give you the haps in our lives, because really the difference between this show and other podcasts and other Star Trek shows is JP and I hosting. So we're going to talk about ourselves, and we're going to talk about it in the lens of Trek, but we're going to talk about ourselves and our lives. Energize is our main topic. It's where we're going to talk, weekly reviews, probably if something's going live that week, anything like that, maybe other topics, things of that nature. Beam Me Up is a secondary, topic area. We may have those, we may not. There maybe, I don't think we have anything this week other than talking about a few things there. And then we're going to Hailing Frequency close and end the show. So, that's kind of how I see things going. The ending of the show will be like us sitting around the bridge, and, there'll be like a one-liner joke, and I'll have JP make those up. So,
Thanks for putting me on the spot there.
Yeah, you're welcome. Merry Christmas. All right, so on that note, why don't we go ahead and get into the main crux of the show? So,
engage. No, don't engage. Energize. That's what we say in this room.
All right, so Energize. So obviously we're going to talk Picard. Picard is the show that's out right now. It is weekly being shown on Paramount Plus in the U.S. I think it's on Amazon in other countries, maybe even Netflix. But it's on Paramount Plus. It's behind a paywall. It sucks, but it is there. It's Picard Season 3, and part of why we kind of wanted to do this show, I think, JP, you'll agree with me, is that it seems like the right time to do a Star Trek show with Picard being out and live, because they're going back to the well, finally. And something they probably should have done in season 1 and 2, they're bringing the bulk of the next gen cast into Picard. So
Agreed.
yeah, so let's
I think that
go
I
ahead.
think that they probably should have done more cameos in the previous seasons. There was, of course, the Riker and Troy showing up in season
1.
2.
Season 1.
Was on season 1?
Yeah, season 2 was the time travel one where they basically
Oh, yeah.
Let's not talk about season 2.
Yeah, we don't talk about season 2. But yeah, I don't know that I feel okay that they felt they needed to bring everyone together at one time. I don't know that it necessarily needed to be for the entire season.
I gotta disagree a little on that. I feel that they've lost something. Listen, Patrick Stewart's incredible. There is nobody who doesn't think that. He's an incredible actor. He's an incredible person. He has a range, and he is enough to bring people to Picard. But I think that we saw in season 1 and season 2 a misstep in that they didn't bring enough in there. Now, it wasn't just that. They also didn't bring the tone of Next Gen. Next Gen being the last show that Roddenberry really had his hands in. Next Gen was a much more positive and a much more utopia. It steered into the utopianness of Starfleet and the ethos that I think Star Trek is based around, which is, positivity and we're going to make it. He steered into that, and it survived, which I can't believe I'm going to say something nice about Rick Berman. It survived because Berman wouldn't let it die. There were many, including Ronald D. Moore, whom I love, and is one of the absolute best writers this show and any show has ever had. But he's gone on record saying he struggled against the river, the current sometimes, because he wanted to bring more drama and more ethos and more conflict between the crew members into Next Gen. And you'd have Rick Berman going, that's not happening. Because that's not what Gene Roddenberry thought. Gene Roddenberry felt that there should be no conflict between the crew. The conflict should always be external. Which is it's hard to write that way, speaking as somebody who enjoys writing. But, it's kind of what Star Trek was about. And Picard season 1 and season 2, they went another way. And so that's what
they very much do.
It's a long way for me to get around saying that I think had they brought the Next Gen crew back sooner, then they would have earned themselves the right to go that other way. But because it was just Picard and 7 of 9, and then you had Data, and Riker and Troy, and not acting Riker and Troy-ish, it felt like a misstep. And once you got over the joy of, I see Riker, it's amazing, yay! And I had that. And once you go from that to, wait, what are these words they're saying? This makes no sense. It really kind of, I feel they made a misstep there.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, I recognize him.
Yeah.
Who's he playing? Because that's not the Riker that I remember. That's not the Troy that I remember. Yes, these characters are 20 plus years down the road, but it almost felt like a completely different character.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's what they wanted. I think Terry Matalas, who is the showrunner for Picard, I think he wanted it to be this way. This was a choice that he made. Right or wrong. And so I do think that they tried with season 2. Season 1, it had just enough cameos. It had Riker, Troy, Data. So it had the big 3, and you can't do Riker without Troy. So they included Troy. But it had the major 3 commanders of the Enterprise showing up. Okay. And I was good. I really felt that season 2, they should have done something else. They maybe should have brought in Worf. Season 2 would have been a great place to bring Worf in. Maybe Geordi. Something to kind of keep us. Because what happened was in season 2, and we'll talk about this. We'll do some deep dives in episodes and seasons. I feel that season 2 Picard, the mistakes that were made there was they didn't earn it. They didn't earn our affection for those characters, that they were putting them through hell. It just became annoying that they're putting them through hell. Whereas if you had used Gates McFadden and put her through hell, there'd be an emotional, and we'll talk about this in episodes 1 and 2, there's an emotional resonance there because I know that character. Okay, I look at Gates McFadden, she's Dr. Crusher, and if I see her get shot, there's a oh God, she got shot. They've earned that over however many years of Next Gen that they didn't buy with the old characters in Picard. So I'm okay with those characters being gone. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I agree entirely. I am curious to see though where we go. They've hung up the phone on season 2, moved past it.
Yes,
but they left a huge gap in that final episode. That okay, what's going on now with the new Borg?
Yeah.
What's up with that anomaly?
Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're going to deal with it. I don't think they're ever going to deal with it. They've just they literally etch-a-sketched it, and they're like, no, we made a new picture. Look, it's people you know. So, I mean, let's get into season 3. So, we kind of talked about season 1 and 2, and yeah, there's a lot of endings with season 2 that we're going to have to break down and get into. And we'll talk about season 2 in regards to some of the carryover from season 3. But season 3 picks up, it seems like some significant time later. I don't think they tell us that it's a year, but it feels like a year. And it picks up with Picard again at Chateau Picard, doing Picard retired stuff. And oh look, there's Enterprises, and oh look, there's the Romulan chick he was into, and well, it actually picks up with Gates. It picks up first with Crusher, but
there you go.
Yeah, so they get into the action with that. It's really good to see her. It's good to see her kind of be a badass because Gates McFadden, inside baseball, always had an issue with the fact that Dr. Crusher was kind of just there. Yeah. So. I mean, definitely one of those things but it was good to see her there. She's keeping somebody out of her, she's keeping her, somebody, we don't know who this is, out of the room while she's trying to handle things, which I never really I should have known right away what she was doing with that, but I didn't. And so... Yeah. I felt kind of like, oh, I missed a step there. And I mean, they even go past a Jack Crusher, Starfleet,
his things,
mementos. And I'm sitting there going, there is a part of me going, okay, you're just telling me that it's Crusher. I get it. And you're using the name Jack. Fine. Yeah, they got me on that one. But in any event, she fights off an invasion of, somebody's trying to board, fights them off, and they run away. And they have she's been shot. But she runs away and she sends a message before she leaves with a weird encryption protocol, and they warp away. And then we see...
Now, before we go any further...
Go ahead.
The very first time that I watched this episode,
okay,
I thought I had picked out who these enemies were.
Okay.
And it scared the living bejesus out of me that they would actually go down this path. I thought it was the clicking aliens from that other dimension, from that horrible Star Trek episode, or Next Gen episode, Schisms, where they were kidnapping people and taking them and operating on them.
Yeah, I've seen that episode one time because it's so bad. I was like, ooh.
It's literally one of the probably 5 worst Next Gen episodes.
I literally was like, I was looking at them and I was like, hey, these look like, the bird people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 4. What are they the new putties? What's happening? And again, they were kind of nameless. I mean, I kind of think they missed a step with the Gorn. Like, you've reintroduced the Gorn in Strange New Worlds. Like, have them show up. Like, now you're scared. But yeah, so she sends the message, and we go through like the initial title for Picard, and they are using some of the old themes, which I'm all about as far as the musician goes. Please,
yes.
And then we see Picard doing his standard first episode of the season of Picard. He's at the chateau, and he's doing something completely unrelated, but kind of related to what's coming. You know, he's sending stuff to a museum, and he's moving on with his little Romulan girlfriend. I think they are going to another planet. And then he gets the message from Beverly. It comes through his old comm badge, which, again, as a fan, I was like, okay, so let me ask you this. Why are you using the old next-gen comm badge when, as of Generations, you had...
Yeah.
The Enterprise D had the comm badges, the ones with the arc on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Trapezoid or whatever
yeah,
behind the Delta.
Oops. I feel like that was a bit of an oops. But in any event, also, the way I understood how comm badges worked, they were tied to a ship's system. With no Enterprise D, how the hell is this thing working? Anyway, he gets a message from it. The computer decrypts it using the code. He realizes what the code that Beverly would have used was, which was from, as I understand it, that is from a memory. I looked at Memory Beta, which is a great website. I think that was from a novel, like where Picard was down and they used that encryption protocol. It was from ancillary stuff, which again,
yeah.
Hey, Metellus, good on you. Good on you. If there's anybody, I mean, I cannot claim any. You give me a quiz on the novels and books of the Legends of Star Wars era when Star Wars had this, continuity, I'd crush it. But Trek's continuity was so all over the place, crazy, that you just couldn't keep up. So when it comes to the ancillary stuff, I don't have anything on it. But I did look it up, and I was like, because I wanted to find the episode, because again, for this show. And yeah, so they use that. He decrypts it. Beverly says, don't trust anyone in Starfleet. We're in trouble. These are coordinates. Come get me. I need help. Don't trust Starfleet. By the way, don't trust Starfleet. So, of course, Picard calls Captain Riker, who, works for Starfleet. Yeah. And I get it. Yeah, he would be who you'd call. And sure. All right. They get on the Titan. Him and Riker decide to go after it. They mention the fact that Seven is now a first officer on the new Titan. They kind of hint around the fact that the captain's kind of a nozzle. We find out for sure later. They get on the Titan. They start heading out under false pretenses of we're doing an inspection and we're just riding along. And the minute they have dinner with, Jerk Captain, who, by the way, has insisted that Seven be called Annika. He's like,
that is her name.
Yeah, but you know what? It's I get what Metellus is doing there. I think he's actually saying something about the current culture of transgender and non-binary people having to use their old names. It's really kind of how I felt, and I love it when Star Trek does something obscure like that. Like the problems I had with season 2 with a lot of what they were saying was they were grabbing the cast iron frying pan and whacking us over the head with it. I was like,
yeah,
you don't have to do that.
I mean,
this type of thing was
I hadn't
good.
thought that the whole way through.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought that the whole way through. So yeah, I'll defer to you. That's okay.
It feels that way because the captain feels very Republican. All right, he's like, I am a law and order rule kind of guy, and you two come in here and you're all like space cowboy and you like to go do things. Well, I'm not doing it. And they sit down to dinner and Picard and Riker try to convince him to go and get Beverly. And he, of course, says no. He's like, I'm by the book and I'm not supposed to do that. So you can go F yourself. And, oh, by the way, you're going to be staying in a, you and Picard are going to be sleeping in a bunk. And
cadet quarters.
Yeah, basically. It's like, we don't have the space like you used to have on the Galaxy classes and blah, blah. I mean, the guy was a tool. We all can admit that. And so
But he's
then,
such a good tool.
oh, he was. And you know what? I mean, he redeemed himself, and I'm kind of all about this captain. I got to be honest. So Annika comes, Seven comes, and basically exactly what they hoped would happen. She is inspired to break the rules. And I think there was a conversation between them where they kind of said to her, look, you used to be a rule breaker. You know, he's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And we need to go after one of our people. And Annika decides to do that. They get there. They get in a shuttle. They fly over to the ship. The ship is in complete disarray and hurt. The captain comes in and he's pissed off. Then we go over to the Ilios, right? That's the name of the ship. Crusher ship.
Ilios, yes.
The Ilios. So they get on the ship and they are introduced to this blonde kid from Downton Abbey. Doesn't have a name yet, but he has a British accent that sounds very familiar. In fact, I think it's French in the Star Trek universe. Anyway, so he, yeah.
Back at the beginning, they were playing Picard's logs. Of
Yes.
Being at the right before the Battle of Wolf 359
Yes.
or whatever,
Walking the ship, etc.
So if that's what he's been hearing, I don't know.
I'm with you.
I had a little issue with that whole thing playing constantly because it's like, okay, Crusher and Picard have had a thing. We kind of knew this all along, and but now they're not. But she's playing his logs over and over and over again.
Well, I think it's important. Something's up there. I don't think we know everything about that yet. I don't think she's just listening to logs. I mean, So, but we get to there. They ask who this kid is. Beverly is in a healing pod. And this kid introduces himself as her son. And end of the episode. And of course, we are all meant to think one thing. Holy crap, this is Jean-Luc's love child. And okay, so we sit there a week, and we were going to try to go live last week, guys, but we didn't. So now you're getting both episodes. So, and here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. The mistake that they made was, I think episode 1 and 2 should have been a 2-hour premiere. I think there's so much dump that goes on in this episode that by spreading it over 2, and there wasn't a lot of action in the first one. Nobody fired a phaser. Nobody did anything.
Beverly did.
Well, yeah, but had you lumped these two together, when I say that, I mean space battle. Had you lumped these two together, I think you would have had a much more, but I think they're only down to like 8 episodes for this. I think it's a very small episode run. So I understand why, but yeah, it should have been 2. So we're dealing with it as 2 episodes. So episode 2 comes back, and we find out more about Crusher. His name is also Jack Crusher.
Yeah, I got issues with that too.
Oh, I don't, but we'll talk about it. Jack Crusher is her son. He mentions that they are. Oh well, we first see the pre-intro is Jack Crusher. We see him actually being somewhat of a renegade. He's working with the organization Seven was a part of before, the Fenris Rangers. And he's kind of dealing in pharmaceuticals for weapons. He's trying to get medical supplies to regions that need it. And they carry and trade in weapons because they're like, we'll arm both sides so that they let us get medicine to who needs it. So he's kind of a Robin Hood-ish type of cat.
See, I misinterpreted because I thought the people that were boarding the ship were the Fenris Rangers.
Right.
I thought that's who he was giving the weapons to get them further down the line.
Right. No, I think that they got stopped by the Fenris, and he keeps that as but look what else I have. Here's what I have for you. Some weapons. And he tries to trade them, and of course they take them. So, and he gets to get through. So I interpreted this like my uncle used to do when we would go up north, and we'd be trying to get through. In the Adirondack Mountains, there's a lock system. So there are various different rivers to get to various different lakes, and you have a lock that will get you up and down. And, they would also look and see if you had alcohol, because you weren't supposed to be having any alcohol in the boat. My grandfather and my uncle's idea to get around that was give a beer to the guy running the lock. It worked. We never had a
Of course
problem.
it
So I kind of interpreted it as that, they knew looking at it that they were going to take some of the weapons and let Crusher get through with his medical supplies. So we kind of get the impression that this kid is kind of a rogue. Kind of Okana level rogueness, which I really hope they bring back in some way. I love Okana.
They actually did. Okana has been brought back in
Lower Decks.
the Prodigy.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched Prodigy. So we should talk about that too. I guess I haven't because I was like, that's for kids. But
It's actually not. Yes and no, but it's a really good show.
okay, well that's why we have a show. So it comes back and we get the info dump that Jack Crusher is Beverly's son. She's been raising him alone. His name is Jack. And right away, Riker has this look on his face of like, I know what this is. Okay, I figured this out. And Picard is walking around like, yes, but I'm 900 years old, and I'm going to sit here now, and we're going to talk up to the ship for a bit. And so we have it where they get followed. They get the big ship that was at the end of episode 1 comes out. It's Vadic. It's Amanda Plummer. She's eating every piece of damn scenery she can find. She's doing the best impression of her father I have ever seen done, where he ate every piece of scenery he could find.
Absolutely.
So she's there. She's going to blow the ship up unless they hand over Crusher. They manage to lock themselves down. They manage to put a force shield up. Nobody can beam them out. And in the meanwhile, the Titan is like, look, they're going to get blown up. They blow up the shuttle. Amanda Plummer blows the shuttle up. So Seven goes, look, we got to help them. We have to get them out. And basically they go in and get them. The commander relieves Annika of duty. They get the guys off the ship, and she now is going to communicate to the Titan. And the Titan captain, he's listening. And that's a problem I have with him. He's listening, and she says, look, you go ahead. I'm lowering my shields. Take a scan of my ship. Scans the ship, and they realize they are wicked outgunned. She's like, you try to move away. You try to go to warp. We're going to follow you, and we're going to blow you out of the sky. And your entire crew is going to be dead.
Now, one thing that
Yeah.
she says in that first thing with Picard, Riker, and everyone's on the bridge, one thing that she said really struck a nerve with me. I thought it was good fan service, but had no realistically reason for her to have said that. And the words were she welcomed to Picard in the synthetic flesh.
Yes. Okay.
Now, I thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that only the people that were there on Soong's planet knew that Picard was android now.
I don't think
or
they ever
Gollum or whatever.
Right. I don't think they ever talked about it. I don't think they talked about whether it was secret or not. So I could let that go as a plot device, as a way for actually what I felt like that was Matalas saying, and before any of you nerds out there say Picard's a robot, none of us have talked about it. Look, here, she said it. Now leave me alone. I really feel like that was more what it felt like he was trying to say.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'll
I
go
didn't
there.
care. I kind of am okay with them pretending that didn't happen because I like to pretend that didn't happen. So, I'm cool with it, but getting back to it a little bit too. So she throws this ultimatum. She's like, or I'm going to blow your ship up, or you just give me one person who's not even a member of your crew. Give me Jack Crusher. And the captain kind of does something. The captain's starting to get into like the spirit of, you can see it, which is why I love the captain. He's starting to almost get into the spirit of breaking a few rules and I think he's kind of starting to enjoy it. He starts talking to Picard and he's kind of like, you know what? You make the call. You go ahead. You make the call and, you go talk to this guy and, so Picard goes down there to talk to Jack, but before he even goes, Riker has a great moment. He looks at him and he goes, "How do you not know what's going on here?" And Picard's like, "I don't understand. What do you mean?" And Riker's got to be like, he's got to start drawing him a map. He's like, "Well, this kid's about 25. You and Beverly were together like 25 years ago. He has a British/French accent. He speaks French for some reason. She, how do you not see this?" And he's like, "I don't understand." and Riker's calling him out a bit for it. Like, no, I think you don't want to see it. So
agreed.
And so Riker gets it in his mind that he's going to go and wake Beverly up to get the truth, because Picard is actually also leaning towards giving this kid up. To which, he goes down and talks to him, and when he starts talking to the kid, because he's now got his record in front of him of every atrocity this kid has done, which isn't really atrocities, but like light crime. He starts talking to him, but he's also, you can see he's starting to be like, "Oh crap, this is, oh wow, okay, yeah." So he's starting to hip to it. Meanwhile, Riker goes and wakes up Beverly, and basically, whatever. It cuts then to the bridge, when they're getting down to the wire. Picard gets up to the bridge, and he's still not sure what they're going to do yet. And basically, just as the time is starting to run down, Varys, what the hell's her name? Varys. She Vadic, yeah. She calls them up, and basically she's like, "Okay, what's your answer? What are you going to do?" Oh, and meanwhile, Jack escapes. I almost missed that part. Jack Crusher escapes from the prison in a very cool way. He's going to try to get on a shuttle to give himself up to save his mother, which, again, Picard looks at as a very Picard thing to do. Beverly shows up on the bridge, so they're trying to figure out what to do. Seven's got him at the end of a phaser. They're trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden, and this was the highlight of this episode for me. And that's when two people who have worked together for so long, they are able to say 1,000 things without ever speaking. You see Absolutely. Picard look at Gates. You see Picard look at Crusher. Crusher look at Picard. And there's a slight nod where, it goes back to Picard, and he's kind of like, he puts his chin up like, is it my kid? And you see Crusher just give a slight, like, I never wanted to talk about this, but yeah. And Picard turns around, and the captain, almost on cue, he's like, "Why are we even thinking about this?" And Picard's like, "Hold, that is my son." And this is why I love the captain now. I love the captain for the sheer moment. It's one of the best moments of the show when he goes, this is my son. And the captain gets this look of like, "Okay, we're talking about this. Wait, what? Shit. Okay."
Yeah, I thought that was too quick of a dime to turn on.
No,
him.
It isn't, though, because that, to me, goes so far into what Starfleet is about. Starfleet is about families. Starfleet is about, and it's kind of a real life thing. Like, you'll sit there and be like, okay, principle is one thing. All right, you don't want to give them up because of principle, and sure. And it's a problem I have with New Trek, where there used to be a time when principle would be more than enough. We're not going to do this because it's the wrong thing to do. Period. The end of story. So
now I will say this: if they had previously had Captain Shaw say anything about family,
right,
a single word, I wouldn't have had as much of an issue.
I kind of think it goes to the uniqueness and the ununiqueness of the human condition, though, where it's like, okay, you're doing this for principle, you're doing this for this. This is a you problem. This is something I cannot understand because this is how your principles are wired. But the minute it gets down to somebody is threatening my kid, I think that is a very universal thing that even I, now I'm a bonus dad. I don't have natural kids of my own, But I'll tell you right now, my bonus kids, if somebody threatens them, damn right, I'm going to war. Like, and that's just my bonus kids. Like, there is a human condition natural reaction, and like it or not, and as much as this guy doesn't like Picard, he also has a respect for him as a Starfleet officer. And when a Starfleet officer says, "That's my son over there, I can't let him die," the Starfleet officer goes, "Nope, I gotta agree with you. All right, let's do this. I'm not happy, but we're doing this." And there was a part of it that I loved the most, because it feels so damn human to be like, no, we are going to give this kid up and blah, blah, blah. He's a criminal. And then Picard goes, "He is my son." And immediately this guy goes, "Shit." And I mean, I don't know if he even said it, because you can on this show, but his face was one that just said, shit. And he's like, "Okay, let's arm phasers. Let's shields up, red alert. We're going to run. Let's go to the nebula, and everybody dump something, life approach to the man." And, you know, I loved that. That felt so real and so cool, as opposed to, you know, and there were other times in Star Trek where we would see a captain go, "Well, you're going to have to sacrifice your son. I'm sorry." I mean, it felt real. It was the best part of that episode for me, was that single moment where the captain turns on a dime and he basically goes, "Well, I ain't going to let your kid die. I may not like you, but, you know, I'm not going to let your kid die." And that's a professional courtesy thing, even.
Okay.
So that's kind of do you have anything else to say about it? I mean, we could disagree. I love that. But
like I say, if I wouldn't have had this big of issue if family had been a topic of discussion of his at any point in any.
Well, that's okay, and I think that's fair. Again, I'm interpreting it from my interpretation, but I'm going to say yours is just as valid. So that's kind of where the episode ended. It's kind of at this cliffhanger. The other thing that happened, the B plot, we didn't even talk about Raffi. Raffi has been working with Section 31. So through both of these episodes, she's kind of where they cut away to when the tension's getting too big. In the first episode, they try to send us down this whole thing of she's gone dark and bad, and her and Seven broke up, and she's hating life, and she's a drug addict again. And then, immediately they fixed that.
Where I was at.
I wasn't. I was like, this is phony. This doesn't feel like Raffi at all. And sure enough, when I saw her become, report in, it was great. So she's reporting into somebody who she doesn't know who it is. And she doesn't identify herself as Section 31 in this episode, but she does in the second. So Raffi's gone to intelligence work. I love the little nugget they gave us. The statue, the red woman statue. Did you catch who it was?
Rachel Garrett. Yep.
Yeah, the captain of the Enterprise C.
Enterprise C.
Again, I was like, you know what? That's great. Thank you. And, so they blow up this academy.
So many of those little nuggets.
So they blow up this recruitment house using basically the portal gun from Portal. If they had made the other side blue, I would have loved my life right there. The orange to blue, I was like, yes. But
I was waiting for someone to say the cake is a lie.
Yeah. So they blow that up. Raffi's really distraught by this. She gets a hold of her handler in this episode, and she's like, "I demand a face-to-face meeting. I need to know what's going on." And the handler, he waves her off. He's like, "Not only are we not meeting, you're out. We have got this. We're going to take this a different direction. You're out." And she basically says, "Screw you, I'm not." And still begins investigating this situation. So she gets in a little deep. She ends up talking to a Ferengi. She's getting in deep. She's about to get killed. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we get our second.
Hang on.
Oh.
Hang on. Before we get there. Before we get to there.
Go ahead.
Did it feel ham bone-ish to you that she had to go to her ex-husband and the father of her son to get this set up?
No, and I'm going to tell you why. Raffi, they didn't establish Raffi as an intelligence agent. She was always just a naval officer in the fleet. So she wouldn't have the kind of contacts a regular intelligence officer would have. like she, like she would her ex-husband. She would use her ex-husband for something like that. I can get there on that because again, when the fit hit the Shan with Picard previous to season 1, she ended up living on a desert planet by herself. So I can headcanon that a little bit. And it is a little ham-fisted, but it's also Star Trek. Star Trek just does shit like that a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we're also going to have to play with the fact that now the ultimatum that he gave her is I'll either help you with your work or I'll help you with your family.
Yep, and she chooses to work.
So she's pushing away family where Picard's apparently going to have to bring in family.
Well, Picard would always push, to an extent he pushed away family, but I mean, and we're going to talk about that in this stuff, but I mean, she's in trouble with this Ferengi. Her ex-husband let her there. This Ferengi's about to kill her, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and they used the Klingon theme, which I was like, yes! All of a sudden, a bat'leth comes through some guy's chest, and it's freaking Worf. And Worf picks her up after killing a bunch of Ferengi in a very bloody way that you're not used to seeing on Star Trek. And picks up Rafi, and he's like, I told you to let this go. And so Worf is her handler. If anything's ham-fisted, that's going to be it for me. I was like, okay, Worf is in Section 31. Worf was going to be an ambassador. Worf was going to... Okay.
Yeah.
But again, he would have been... They couldn't use Data, which I would have felt like had they used Data for this, Data would have been a great Section 31 officer because Data is able to turn off his humanity and his emotions too. It'd be like, no, we have a mission to do. I get that they needed a way for Worf to be involved, and this is it. Because LaForge has his daughter on the ship. LaForge, it's not going to be hard to work Geordi LaForge in. But, Crusher is the muse. They're going to bring Troy back. Her and Riker are having problems. Yeah. All right. Makes sense. They wanted to keep Rafi, so Worf is he's in the plot device role, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get around it. And that's where they kind of left that. And that's kind of the end of episode 2. So, with that, we also kind of want, when we're doing these episodes, we really feel, especially with Picard, I don't know how often we'll do this elsewhere, but with Picard, there are so many callbacks to other episodes. So, we've got kind of a list here. I actually thought of another one while we were talking, dude. But I feel like with episode 1, before you watch episode 1 of Picard, you got to go watch Next Generation. You got to go watch All Good Things. Geordi mentions his daughter. And remember, the future that they're talking about is a made-up future by Q and all this. But it's actually now, 25 years later. We are 25 years later. So, I mean, Geordi does have 2 daughters. So they mentioned that. So there's a few little nuggets in there for you guys to kind of hang on to. Troy is still alive, which is different.
Which is very different.
Yes. So definitely check.
Data is still alive,
Data
which
is
is very different.
Yes. Well, Data's still alive in All Good Things. He's dead here. Yeah. So definitely check that out. I think you guys will like it. And in the All Good Things, Troy was dead and she's alive here. The other one we thought of, that for episode 1, didn't you have another one other than Bloodlines? There was one you thought we should look at, or?
I was on.
Oh, we're going to push that till next week. Right. The other one I thought of was Bloodlines because, well, this is more episode 2. Now that we know Picard's kind of a dad, I thought Bloodlines would be a really good episode because you kind of see Picard being a dad in that and trying and being all thumbs about it. And I think we're going to see some of those callbacks as we move forward with him interacting with Jack. In that episode, there was the Ferengi bring back an adult son, quote unquote son that Picard has. Turns out to be all a forgery and things like that, meant to kind of, Damon Bach is trying to get back at Picard. But in the episode, Picard really thinks this kid's his son. And you see Picard trying to be a dad and not doing very well at it. I thought it just would be like a cool thing to look at. But the other one I thought of earlier as well is Tapestry. In dealing with Jack Crusher, Tapestry is an episode that I think was season 6. And it was a what if episode where we find out Picard, when he was younger, and this is why I thought of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where Picard, when he
Q
was younger,
episode.
was a bit of a hellion. Picard was a bit of a rebel. He was, he would get into fight with Nausicaans and things of that nature. And, so we see Picard as his kid, and I'm looking at Jack Crusher going, okay, I can make this connection because of this episode. So you want to go check Tapestry out. It's a great episode. I'm not going to ruin for you at all. But basically, Q makes a change, and it whacks out Picard's life. It's a great Q episode. It's called Tapestry. It's season 6, episode 15. Episode 15. So check it out. I think you guys will like it. Highly recommend that. And again, you'll see some parallels to Jack Crusher's character and young Jean-Luc. So,
Yep, agreed.
and then, the only other thing I thought of as well, if I was going to use a movie, would be Generations. And that is because in Generations, the biggest misstep I think that movie made was taking out Picard's legacy. They took out Picard's brother and son were killed off camera, or brother and nephew were killed off camera in a fire. And you see Picard dealing with the fact that he's going to be the last Picard. There is no legacy for him. And he even talks about that in episode 1, the fact that,
I was going to get back to that.
Yeah. So
he's giving away all his stuff.
Yeah, he's giving away his stuff because he feels he doesn't have a legacy beyond the stories that he has. And I'm kind of all about them kind of going after this level of stuff. But you might want to check that out as well, Generations. It's a hard sit through. They're not sure where that movie is. They're not sure how they want to go. They're not sure what that movie wants to be. And so it kind of struggles under the weight of its own writing and its own, unsuredness. But that part kind of can color how Picard is going to deal with Jack Crusher. So any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I also, you had mentioned previously talking about David Marcus.
Yes. Star Trek 3. Yeah. Yes, David Marcus. I do feel, I'm like, if this kid, here's what I don't want to have happen. I better not see Jack Crusher get stabbed by a fracking Klingon on the middle of a planet for absolutely no reason. David Marcus is dead because of a plot device required for Search for Spock. No other reason. And I thought that was a character they should have explored more. I would have liked to have seen more exploration of that. I really hope they don't do the same thing here. I don't think so because they know this is the end. I don't think they want to do that. And, don't get me wrong. They used, as far as plot devices go, David Marcus's death colored the rest of the Star Trek motion picture universe movies. 3, 4, 5, 6 all deal in some regard to that and how it impacted Kirk. But it was kind of shitty. Yeah, but do you have any other thoughts? I know you wanted to talk about Jack Crusher, like the name Jack Crusher.
There's still a part of me, regardless of the knowing nods and the furrowed eyebrows, that wonders, is he actually Picard's son, or is he a clone of the original Jack Crusher in some way, shape, form, or fashion?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I could see Beverly naming her son Jack for 2 reasons. Number one, as an honor to her first husband, but also don't forget Picard. Well, no, it was Walker, I think. Walker and Picard introduced Beverly and Jack. Jack and Beverly got together because of Jean-Luc. Jack Crusher was a friend of Jean-Luc Picard's. And so naming, his son Jack, had she known, had Picard known, if she said, what should we name him? He probably would have said Jack, let's name him Jack. So I can get behind that.
I mean,
I don't think
I
they're
get
gonna.
it, but it's still.
I'm going to say
There's
this
still
right
just
now.
a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say this right now. They should not shell game Jack Crusher. Jack Crusher should stay Picard's son. If you shell game him the way you did Bloodlines, I will call foul, because I think he needs to be crushed. I think and that's just it. I think a lot of what they're doing here in this whole series is going to be talking about, quote unquote, the next generation. And having Jack Crusher be Picard's son, and we've met Geordi LaForge's daughter, and we've got Data's daughter, I don't know, walking the galaxy with Wesley somewhere. I think we need this to be Picard's son. Do I think they should have done something a little different? Yeah. But I'm kind of okay with what they did here, because I really feel that, I really feel that at this point, we need him to be Beverly and Jean-Luc's kid. Will and Deanna are still struggling with the death of their son, but he has a daughter. Like, there's something to the legacy, and the fact that they're doing this with the Next Gen cast, which I feel that this is kind of for us, because those of us who watched Next Gen live and who really made Next Gen a hit, we're now in our mid to late 40s or 50s, or so we have kids. And having this notion that this will go on and there'll be a second generation, I think that's what they're going for. So I don't think they're going to shell game Jack Crusher, and if they do, shame on them, because you shouldn't. He should not be shell gamed. He should stay Jean-Luc Picard's son. And I'd love it if Voss showed up tomorrow and was like, "Oh, by the way, here's my son." No.
But here's the next point. How much? I think this is 10 episodes.
I thought it was only 8, which is why I thought that they didn't put these two together.
Either 8 or 10.
Right.
But regardless, how much of that time?
10 episodes. You're right.
How much of that time should Wesley and Jack interact?
That's just it. Now, they've gone on record saying Will Wheaton is not going to be a part of this show. Okay.
They've said that before, though.
I know they did. I think you're going to see Will Wheaton show up at the end. I think he's just going to show up at the end. Now, if they want to write a show with the two brothers hanging out, hells yeah. Like, go Star Wars on this shit. Like, put them out there. I'll watch it. But I do think it's a mistake not to have Wesley. But given what you've done with Wesley and the Traveler, he becomes way too much the Doctor's, he becomes the Doctor's sonic screwdriver at that point. Every issue, yes. We just have Wesley fix it. You can't have Wesley Crusher without Deus Ex Machina. And, all of a sudden now you have a way out of everything. So I'm down with no Wesley. I do hope that I've heard both she is and I've heard both she's not. I hope they find some way to bring Tasha or her daughter, Sela, back. Like, have Denise Crosby for an episode. Yeah. I want that. Because
even if it ends up in the holodeck.
Yeah, because I want that. There's a reason that Hailing Frequencies is,
Hailing Frequencies closed, sir.
Like, when we switch to when we go to the ending, her voice is what's going to be there, because I love that character. And they so dirty dogged her. It was, she's like, I really don't like how this is going. I really feel I should be a bigger part of things. And Gene Roddenberry is like,
get out.
Gene Roddenberry is basically like, yeah, but Worf's a guy and he makes more sense. So you know what? You're bitching about this, right? You're upset? Yeah, you're gone. I mean, let's face it. Gene Roddenberry was a known misogynist. But, yeah. I mean, yeah, I love, and then they brought her back, and the way they brought her back made sense. I was cool with it. I'd like it. I almost like to see her be Sela. I'd almost like it that I gotta admit, I'm kind of hoping Vadic is Sela's kid. Like, that's why she has regular ears, because she's still she's now 3/4 human. Absolutely. Like, I look at Vadic and go, God, you look Romulan a bit. Like, for God's sake, let her mom be Sela. But that being said, I think we should wrap up because we're getting kind of long here. But yeah, as things stand right now, we're going to go into episode 3 on Thursday. I think what's your schedule Thursday? We could record Thursdays.
Possibly Thursday.
Okay.
If not,
we're going to choose a night.
Definitely Friday this week.
Okay. We can figure this out. I want to get us on a regular schedule. We'll talk about it. We're not sure yet when we're going to have, what night we're going to record these shows. I'm looking at, Wednesday or Thursday. Well, Thursday my wife works. We'll talk offline. But for right now, this is just our pilot anyway. We're going to have to fix some of the technical gas in the beginning. But, I mean, we had a main 2 here, but we can kind of talk about those next time when we're not dealing with 2 episodes. So there's some Trek birthdays, and there's a new comic coming out. We're going to push that to next week. So we're going to skip Beaming Me Up. So, and let's just get right into the ending if you're okay with it, brother.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hailing frequencies closed, sir.
All right, hailing frequencies closed. So we want to remind you guys that we are going to be on here at least once a week. We're going to figure out the night. Real quick, to find us out there on the interwebs, if you want to follow us, eventually we'll have a YouTube channel. I'm going to mainly focus, I think, this show on YouTube. Twitch, it doesn't seem like Twitch is. Right now it's going through Twitch, but we're going to have a YouTube channel set up and things of that nature. You can find the podcast very easily. It's at anchor.fm/ I think it's Your Father's Podcast. Let me check. We have an Anchor page. I will get you guys that information very post haste. Let's pause here. We're just going to pause this recording so I can have it. I should have had it ready. Public site, anchor.fm/ Will Benson 3. Huh, that's weird. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what it's going to be. So I have to publish the first episode so I can make a site. So the first episode is going to go up to the podcast. Next episode will have where you can find it, and I'll be throwing it out to our Discord. You can find my Discord right now, discord.oldmangamerny.com. Our Twitch channel right now that we're using is twitch.tv/oldmangamerny. YouTube is youtube.com/@oldmangamerny. JP, do you have any place out there you want to,
Quite honestly, this is my first foray into streaming, so I don't have a Twitch channel. I don't have a YouTube. This will be a whole new experience for me.
Well, there you go. That's what I like to hear. So we will be back next week. I need to get some outro music. I'm going to write some outro music. We will be back next week. So probably it could be Thursday night. Latest it'll probably be is next Monday as well, or Sunday or next weekend at some point, where we are going to sit here and talk about episode 3 of Picard as well as some other stuff. Thanks for listening. Guys, if you want to give feedback, please email me, will@oldmangamerny.com. If that doesn't work, will@willbenson.net. I'd really like to hear what you have to say and things of that nature. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of things. JP, anything else you want to say before we sign off?
It's a great day to have a great day.
It's a great day to have a great day. And, thank you to Geek to Geek Media. Geek to Geek Media is our network, so they are awesome.